are still here on the floor of A6 at the 2024 Munich Show, and right outside the booth of MCP, Mineralogical Collection Professionals, out of Milano, Italy, #1 in the reparation and repair of mineral specimens, but also involved in their own mining operations. So it's Federico Pezzotta and Alesandro Paladini. Let's go see what they've brought to this year's show here again at the 2024 Munich Show. And here we are, MCP, Alessandro.
Ciao,
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 ciao. Federico.
How are you?
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Federico, it's good to see you. We haven't seen you in a while. We caught up with Alessandro in Denver.
Yeah.
And so here we are at the 2024 Munich Show. And Alessandro, I got to follow up with you because we did a poll on this piece right in the background in terms of the way that it was going to be mounted.
Denver?
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun speaking about it.
That was a great piece, and we were looking at two different ways. One where it was just flat, the other one where it was mounted like this. And so,
one was like this, one was like that.
B position.
And at the end, we had the winner.
Vote.
We had the winner, yes.
By 75%, they voted this position.
And what do you think now? You have final base done in MCP, and you can see. Yeah, I think they were right.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think at the end,
we're seeing a lot of pieces at this show where they're not so symmetrical.
Correct.
They're kind of asymmetrical, and they curve up and they go vertical. And I'll tell you, they're all beautiful.
Yeah, you can
this
appreciate
just makes this stunning.
All the crystals, the transparency and the determinations.
But then, as we said in Denver, it's this center crystal, the focal crystal here, that's now vertical. That really makes a huge difference there.
And I think the people appreciate that, and a lot of people say. Also, out of the video, they contact me and they say, "Hey, you know, put that one straight."
They contact you directly.
And this, I mean, a lot of friends. So this one,
super.
this one was the best things to do in Denver.
I love it. So
if you want to see something we had chance to prepare.
Okay.
In the meanwhile, we start cleaning the collection. The last acquisition we did, collection in Tuscany with a lot of old time pieces, classical localities, like cinnabar from China. Usually you see them, I mean, pretty often. But in this case, I think this miniature is amazing. The balancing between the crystals and the matrix, the size of the crystals, the shape.
I love it. Make
this perfect. There is no dings, no damages. The luster is the best one you can have for a cinnabar. And the aesthetic, I like the aesthetic. I mean, we can play also with this one. We already did the base. The people can say, no, maybe you have to put in this way, because like this you can see better the luster of his face.
Yeah, you can definitely see the luster better that way.
But in my opinion,
I like the original.
Yeah, it looks very flat. In this way, it's 10 times better. Look at the contrast with the crystals of dolomite and calcite on the matrix.
Yeah.
And it's lovely.
That is lovely.
And as a lab, we trimmed out, was a bigger piece. We decided to make it more balanced. And we inspect the piece just for fun. We're present this kind of lustrous glue, but it's not glue, it's calcite. So a lot of people is asking if it is repaired or not. It is not. It's just natural calcite, edged. And this is not glue, and it's a natural crack, rehealed with the calcite.
Rehealed, okay, okay.
So I love this piece.
You know, and I do have to make a comment. We don't usually talk about this, but pricing on that.
Oh, thank you.
Jesus,
thank you, my friend. Thank you.
That's a crazy price.
Yeah, it was
crazy good price for viewers who are not.
Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you very much. And just to point out, after the Renato Pagano, we spoke in Denver about how to keep labels and the story of each piece. We are trying to keep everything together, so the collector, also if he's not famous, it's very nice to keep everything, especially when the people keep record on the label, like this one. So this piece was bought in September 2006 in Civitavecchia. So this is something we like to keep after purchase the Pagano collection.
That is super.
Yeah. And close to it, there is something new we purchased directly from the mines. You know, we are always hunting and trying to collaborate with miners.
Right.
This is from Afghanistan. I picked up these two specimens from this guy because I think they are super lovely. This is Celestine. I think you filmed from other dealers for sure. And What I think it's different from the others is the quality of the surface. Extremely lustrous.
Yes.
The geometry, the edges, but the metrics with the calcites. Calcites big like this, yeah. I like how they display. The color I know is not the strongest from this deposit, but the quality of the crystals, I mean,
makes
for
up
me,
for it,
yeah. And the aesthetic, also here. Balancing with the crystals and the metrics is great. And in this bigger piece, the display with these flat crystals on top, I think it's something very nice. And you know, for us, Celestine mainly is coming from Madagascar, for our project in Madagascar, so it's totally different. But sometimes when we have something like this, it's nice also to have a different locality on the minerals we love.
Three great pieces.
Thank you very much. I appreciate. And I think now we can go ahead with Federico.
Okay.
He will show you something interesting.
Okay, Federico, you've got some interesting things to show us, as always.
Thank you. So, I would like to show you two pieces because of their crystallographic interest. This is an aquamarine from Pakistan, obviously. And you have seen, I believe, in this show many aquamarines. I'm sure much larger, better than this. But this is special because of the balance of, in my opinion, because of the balance between the matrix, the crystal, and the proportion between the termination and the size of the crystal. And the termination has a very, very small pinacoid. It is actually very steep.
Okay.
Yeah, and hexagonal bipyramid is dominated the termination of the crystal. And next, after the color, you can see inside inclusions, they are like small stars. If you go in the detail, they are, I believe, tensions related to the growth of the crystal. Sometimes aquamarine are developing spirals. Sometimes different type of structure. In this case, they are like hexagonal stars, like flakes, that if you look carefully, they are really hexagonal stars. And together with the piece, there are also these black crystals, which are typical manganocolumbite crystals, which are seldom associated to the crystallization of aquamarine in cavities.
That's great, and thank you for that explanation. I think that really helps the viewers. You know, I've gotten a lot of feedback about how these videos really educate the viewers. So this is like a master class in crystallography.
Yeah, exactly. I really like all these proportions in this crystal. Everything is super well represented, and this is the front view of the piece. On the back, there is a natural contact here, which actually is matching the faces, and it is a spongy overgrowth, because probably there was the crystal touching the side of the pocket, but then it moved naturally off from the contact, and a crystallization, an additional crystallization happened, and so the back of the crystal has this unusual overgrowth, full of tiny fluid inclusions, which are the ones responsible for making this surface a little bit milky. But then this is not affecting at all the view from the front, which is gorgeous.
That's
like
great.
It.
So it's quite hidden, but it's a feature that you know is there.
Yeah, and I tell you, the proportion and the quality of this crystal, in my opinion, is something you can show on any front cover of an international magazine. It is a typical piece which is actually very desirable for photographers. If you photograph this, you cannot make a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, then I selected something which is a little bit unusual, maybe not the most aesthetic piece of our exhibit, but this is an old hematite from Brazil. This is coming from a collection we bought quite recently, but this collection was assembled mostly in after the Second World War.
Okay.
And we found this crystal, this hematite crystal in the collection, which is particularly significant in my opinion because of the very unusual development of the crystal forms. Hematite is characterized by seldom by very complex phases, and in this case you have a very small pinacoid limiting the top and the bottom of this crystal, and then all these phases are rhombohedrons and trigonal dipyramids, and other crystal forms which are obviously related to the trigonal symmetry of the mineral. And the other interesting thing, after the piece is absolutely perfect and undamaged, is that there are selective different lusters from one crystal form to the other.
That's cool.
And on some phases you can see that the phase actually is divided in 2 or 3 subphases, with which is a phenomenon. In Italian, I don't know, they call it facce vicinali. I don't know in English, maybe vicinal phases, I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
But these are typical phases of crystal forms with very high Miller indexes. You know that crystal phases can be identified by Miller indexes, which are numbers which are referring to a certain orientation of the phase compared with the crystallographic directions.
Gotcha.
So this type of phases have very high Miller indexes, and it is something very interesting for crystallographers.
Yeah, it's a very scientific specimen.
Yeah, exactly. And okay, this was I have a special love for hematite because of Elba, in which I was used to collect hematites when I was young, and these crystals coming from other localities outside Elba are fascinating me.
Yeah, and again, this is Minas Gerais, Brazil.
Yes, exactly. Old piece. This piece has at least 60 years.
That is such a... It actually is a cool piece, especially the more you understand it now.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, I cannot make an interview if I don't speak about a tourmaline. I would feel bad.
Right. Well, everyone would say, well, who stole Federico's body? Because that wasn't him.
Yeah. Okay. So I would like to introduce this crystal. This is a nice. This has a nice story. This piece was bought by me and Barlocher.
Barlocher! Or as we call him, Ugly Federico.
Ugly Federico, exactly. In a Peshawar 20 years ago. And we sold this crystal to an Italian collector. And this Italian collector recently sold to MCP his collection, and this crystal came back. And I was surprised how good it was. Actually, it was reported at the time as pop rock.
Okay.
I have some knowledge about Afghan crystals, but this one was surprising me at the time, and it is still surprising me because I have not seen any other crystal which is matching these different colors from an Afghan locality.
Okay.
So for sure there would be other around, but it is something rare. This is an orangish termination. Going down you have a bluish color, going down you have a pinkish, and going down you have again a pale green grayish color, which are very pale pastel colors, but they are super well developed on this crystal, which has perfect proportions. And once again, the termination is quite complex because they are the typical trigonal pyramid, but they are also deep pyramid developed in small faces. And the overall appearance of the piece is magnificent, in my opinion. That's it.
That's super. And I love that it has a past history with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And with our friend Barloccia.
But I mentioned, yeah, impossible.
I think last year we spent some time looking some golds with Federico.
Right.
In this show, exactly 1 year ago. So I think it could be funny to show you something we had chance to have in our lab from the same locality.
Okay.
We are speaking about Mont Blanc, Aosta, Rousson. So we are in the same area of the two specimens of last year. But this time I can show you something pretty amazing for the locality. So crystallized gold with a beautiful shape of the branch.
Yeah.
What is making us 100% sure, and we will never touch the piece for this reason, is the quality and the typical metrics of this piece. It's a little bit unbalanced. If you look at it, it's a little bit bigger, but this keep record for the locality. So make us
so
very
there's
sure.
signs within the matrix
Yeah.
to verify the locality.
Yeah. When he pointed my attention to this piece, I was completely shocked about the size of the crystals and the fact that all the aggregate is composed by very nice crystals. I look at it and my first reaction was, okay, eagle nest.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Then he showed me the piece in more detailed way, and I found out the matrix is Rousson, 100%. And the man, which after many years offered us the piece, actually reported he self-collected it.
Self-collected?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
So I
Yeah.
leave Alessandro going on.
So after a confirmation from Federico, I mean, you are 100% sure it is from Rousson. And if you can zoom on these crystals, it's a 6 millimeter crystal, super shiny. And from this locality, we never had chance to see such a big crystal.
Yeah. Okay.
And to complete the aesthetic of it, every single branch is crystallized, and this is not very often happen to this locality. What we will probably gonna do, we will work in our lab, try to removing these small fragments of quartz from that, just to expose better the gold and complete the piece. Maybe for the next video, like this, you can see the result. But yeah, we were sure you can enjoy this piece and don't miss the chance to show to the people how beautiful you can have gold from Alps, especially from Italy.
Yeah. And self-collected by the original owner.
Directly from the miner. Look also the quality of the quartz. Could be very transparent and lustrous.
No acid etching on this
at all.
Yeah, you can see all the crystals. No acid directly from the pocket. So he was great also to recover the piece without damaging or breaking anything. We inspect carefully. Federico inspect personally the piece. No glue, no repairs, nothing. So it's exceptional.
You know, to me, that's been interesting about all the pieces we've seen with you guys today. You see the piece and you appreciate it, but then you hear the story behind it, and you appreciate it even more.
Yeah, I think it's...
And so you guys are great curators of history, of mineralogy and crystallography, and you know, you're doing such a great service to the mineral collecting world. So
trying to do that.
And you guys are fun. And you guys are my neighbors in Tucson. A lot of fun.
Sorry for the voice. This means we had fun.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
By the way, thank you very much, Brian, as usual.
Federico, thank you
next
very
time.
much. Ciao.
Ciao.
We'll see you in Tucson.
For sure.
Okay.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.